Today, I want to invite you to a space of deep reflection about the choices we make in life. Have you ever considered that the choices we label as either good or bad may not actually carry those qualities themselves? What if I told you that all choices are inherently neutral? Yes, you heard correct. What if there is no such thing as a good choice or a bad choice? I, for myself, know that I struggle with making choices in fear of making a mistake. And then where does that leave me? So, what if the value or emotion we assign to choices is purely based on our perception, our fears? This might be a new perspective for many of us because we are so used to labeling our actions and decisions. And this is something I'm faced with every single time when I am working with clients. I'm not good enough. That's a perception. I can't do things right. That's a perception. So today, I want to open the door of a new way of thinking about the choices we make. Think about a time when you made a difficult decision. You likely gathered all the information you had, weighed the pros and the cons, and acted based on what you believed was the best option at that moment. And this is the key. We cannot make choices based on a future that we do not know. And if we make all choices based from we were in the past, they are based on our experiences of either good or bad. So, when we've made a choice and then later, when the outcome didn't turn out as expected, you started to question your choice. And this is the time you might have even said to yourself, I made a bad decision. And it may be so. But you could have also at that time made a good decision. But let's go. So the question is, did you really make a bad decision? Or were you simply making the best decision possible with the knowledge and resources available at that time? Often life gives us the results we didn't expect, and it's easy to view those as bad outcomes. But if we shift our mindset, we can see that these outcomes are not inherently bad. They are simply consequences of a choice made under certain conditions. And that's really it. A good choice has a consequence, a bad choice has a consequence, a neutral choice has a consequence. So it's simply a consequence of a choice you made with the knowledge you had, the resources you had, and the conditions you were under at the time, at that moment that you made a choice to a decision. What if every choice is not about right or wrong, but continuing or breaking generational patterns? Have you ever considered that? I bet you haven't. Now, here's a deeper question for you to consider. What if the choices you make are not really about being right or wrong at all? Or what if, instead, these choices are part of a larger story, part of a generational pattern that has been handed down through your family system? Have you ever considered that? I bet you haven't. Every choice, whether you are aware of it or not, could either be continuing a long-standing family pattern, or on the other hand, breaking that pattern in a way that brings healing. So when you look at decisions through this lens, it's not about successes or failures. It's about how each choice contributes to a larger system of behavior, loyalty, and healing within your family and beyond. In this video, we're going to dive deeper into the choices we make as they are tied to these generational patterns, and more importantly, how we can begin to break free from them through awareness. Firstly, by becoming conscious of why we make the decisions we do, we can start to heal old wounds that may have been influencing us for generations. This awareness opens up the possibility for personal transformation, where we are no longer bound by the past, but instead empowered to create a new, healthier future. So let's explore together how each of us can begin to make choices that are rooted in love and healing rather than in unconscious patterns. As we explore the impact of these choices we make, it is essential to understand the concept of generational patterns. So how do we recognize generational patterns? We recognize them by the behaviors, traumas, and beliefs that are passed down from one generation to the next, often unconsciously. Our ancestors experienced a wide range of events, from war and hardship to love and triumph. And the emotional imprints of these experiences didn't simply disappear. Nothing ever disappears in the realm of all that is known in this universe. These experiences were carried forward through the family line, affecting how future generations, including ourselves, perceive the world and make decisions. The choices we make today are often a continuation of these inherited patterns. What's fascinating about these generational patterns is that they influence our choices in ways we are often not aware of. We may think we're acting freely, but in reality, we may be unconsciously repeating the actions, beliefs, or responses of our ancestors. For example, if there was a history of financial hardship in your family, you might feel a deep sense of fear around money. Fear that may not even come from your own experiences, but from the struggles of those who came before you, and even those who came before your parents. And this can lead to make certain choices around security or risk without fully understanding why. It's almost like we're being guided by invisible forces that have been embedded in our family system. One powerful aspect of these generational patterns is the concept of loyalty. Whether we realize it or not, we often carry a strong sense of loyalty to our family system. This loyalty can manifest in continuing certain behaviors or values because it feels like we're honoring our system, even if we do not want to do so, and even when it might not serve us in the present. At the same time, the exclusion of certain family members or their stories can also have a profound impact on us. So this is why it is so unconscious, because we don't know about the exclusions that happened in our forefathers. If a person or a story has been excluded from the family narrative due to shame, trauma, or conflict, This exclusion creates imbalances. Unconsciously, we may replicate that exclusion in our own lives, either by disconnecting from parts of ourselves or repeating similar patterns of rejection. The system seeks balance, and it tries to restore harmonies in ways that aren't always obvious. So when we find ourselves making certain choices, whether it's staying in a job we hate, avoiding conflict, or repeating destructive patterns in relationships, we might be tempted to think these as bad choices. Today, I invite you to look at them differently. These choices are not inherently bad. They are simply reflections of unresolved dynamics within the family system. Let me repeat that. Choices are not inherently bad. They are simply reflections of unresolved dynamics within the family system. It's almost as if the system is trying to express something that hasn't been healed or acknowledged yet. When we begin to understand this, we can stop judging ourselves or our choices harshly. Instead, we can see these patterns as invitations for healing and growth. And that's the good news. Let me share an example from my own experiences in systemic constellation work. I had a client who struggled with the recurring issue of constantly giving away her financial resources, despite knowing that it wasn't serving her best interest. Through our constellation work, it became clear that this behavior was tied to her need for acknowledgement from the outside world, something she felt lacked within her family. This pattern of seeking validation by giving away her resources was the continuation of a loyalty to an excluded family member who had faced financial ruin. Without realizing it, she was honoring this family member by repeating the same pattern of financial self-sacrifice. Once this was revealed, she was able to shift her behavior, not by fixing the symptom, but by acknowledging and including the excluded family member. This brought healing to the entire system and allowed her to make healthier financial choices moving forward. As we come to the end of this conversation, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey we've taken together today. The choices we make, when infused with awareness, are no longer just decisions. We can now see them as opportunities for growth and healing. Every choice becomes a powerful step forward, understanding who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. When we bring awareness to our decisions, we stop reacting to life and start responding to it with intention. This shift allows us to break free from the unconscious pattern that may have held us back for generations. And here's something I'd like you to ponder. What if every choice you make is not about success or failure at all? What if it's not about getting it right or wrong, but instead, each choice is an invitation to contribute to the healing of your family system? What if your decisions could ripple out to bring healing not only to you, but also to the generations before and after you? Imagine how powerful it would be to know that every choice you make, no matter how small, has the potential to create transformation and balance in your life and the lives of all those that are connected to you. I now invite you to take this reflection into your own life. Look at the choices you're making right now, whether in your relationships, career, or even in the small everyday decisions. Do you notice any patterns? Are you perhaps repeating decisions out of the sense of obligation or fear or even pain? Or are you starting to make choices from a place of love, wholeness, and empowerment? This awareness is key. When we can see where our choices are coming from, we can begin to shift them towards something more aligned with our true selves. As you continue this choice of awareness, I encourage you to bring mindfulness into your decision making. The more you become aware of the deeper motivations behind these choices, the more you open yourself to healing and growth. And if you find that some of these patterns feel too deeply ingrained, know that you don't have to navigate this alone. Systemic constellations are a powerful tool for gaining clarity about generational patterns and healing the wounds that influence our lives. Thus, by bringing these unconscious dynamics to light, you'll discover new ways to create a healthier, more intelligent choice for yourself and for those connected to you. If you're curious about diving deeper into this process, get in contact with me so that I can see what I can do for you to have your own amazing experience. You will find the detail on how to get in contact with me below. I thank you for watching this video. I hope you are safe where you are, and let's take this journey together, going forward into life with healthier choices. See you next time. Bye for now.